And we're back here. Bruce Cooper joins us on Tuesdays, of course, along with Dale Hillestrand.
and agitator Steve McCullough.
He didn't put out the list. Cam Cox just said, he was. I guess he met with you on Thursday, put out a tweet,
Yeah.
and then all these high school coverage people were arguing over the greatest high school players of all time.
Oh,
Offensive all time, defensive all time, and I didn't see Dale Hillestrand's name.
Yeah, I didn't see him come up at all.
Not even honorable mention.
I did find it funny though how people kept saying Terrell Suggs on defense because he was a running back in high school.
Well,
So that did make me laugh a little bit.
well, he did play both ways.
He absolutely did. But
and-
I think didn't he focus more on running back?
Well, he
though?
did. He was over 2,000 yards
Yeah,
rushing,
but,
over 30 touchdowns. I mean, he was, he was like the Derrick Henry. He ran upright, and he just ran over folks. Now, I think a lot of the college recruiters realized that style's not going to work at the next level, so they actually had him more of a on the defensive side. That's where he's been.
I think they made the right choice, right?
Yeah, look, him and Everson Griffin. I don't know if you remember him. Over
Agua Fria, right?
Fria, absolutely.
Wow.
I mean, those two dudes, they kind of mirrored each other in that they just ran roughshod over high school defensive players. And yet, I still remember being at Agua Fria watching Everson Griffin because, I mean, he was in consideration for our Friday Night Fever Offensive Player of the Year award. And so I'm there watching. So there's Pete Carroll of USC. And Carroll was just jumping up and down giddy because, I mean, Griffin was just coming off the edge, I mean, lightning quick and sacking people. I mean, he was really a terrific two-way player. Now, Terrell didn't play as often defensively as Griffin did, but I still remember a game at Highland High School, where my son went. Ryan Fitzpatrick is a quarterback. Now, they're in the Fiesta region.
Yeah.
Highland beats Hamilton.
Look at these names you're dropping.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He beats Hamilton at Hamilton to win the Fiesta region. Now, the next week, guess who matches up in the first round of the playoffs? Highland and Hamilton. This time the game is at Highland. And I'll just cut to the chase. Hamilton's leading 17-14. Highland has the ball. They're driving. They need at least a field goal to send them to overtime. And it's fourth down. It's fourth down. So I'm standing on the Highland side of the field. Ryan Fitzpatrick rolls towards that sideline, the Highland sideline of the field. And so I'm watching. I'm even kind of looking downfield to see who he might spot. And out of the corner of my eye, there was like a whew. It was Suggs. Sack, fumble, they recovered, game over. So he was definitely a terror defensively. But I get what you're saying. Yeah. He was more noted for offense. But, yeah, it did create quite the debate.
I just remember when he came out of high school, I was even like, really, not going to be a running back? All right, whatever.
I got a couple questions for you. So, number one, one question. I do remember because that was when Dirk Carter was at ASU.
Correct.
And I remember that's when I was doing games for Fox Sports Arizona. And so I did 4 or 5 Arizona State games, and Dirk and I didn't necessarily get along.
You and everybody else.
Until we had a sit-down powwow, kind of yelling at each other, whatever. We figured it out. But him and who was SID at that time? God, for forgetting his name, I could see his face. Oh, my.
That wasn't Kevin White, was it?
No, long time SID, Sports Information.
He went to Ohio State.
It doesn't matter.
Gene Smith?
It had to be Gene Smith.
No,
the
sports
SID
guy, SID.
I'm sorry, SID, I don't know.
Mark Brand?
Yes, Mark Brand. And we're sitting down, and he goes,
SID.
There's this kid at Agua Fria named Everson Griffin. I don't know if he knew his name. But he goes, Pete Carroll could get on a private plane and get to Agua Fria before Dirk can drive from his house in wherever he was living to go see him play. He goes, that's the disadvantage that we have here at ASU. I said, okay, whatever. But anyway.
Well, he's not wrong.
All right, so you guys talked about it, so it's fresh on your mind. You give me your best offensive, best defensive players that you've seen in Arizona.
Wow. if I can do old school, new school.
Okay. So you want 2 of each?
Yeah. Without question, Bijan Robinson
Yeah.
and Bobby Wade would be the old school.
Okay. All right.
Well, that's considered old school. That's my era.
Well, I mean, well, no. It was so. In other words, I'm just telling you, Friday Night Fever, and I started covering high school football in 1990. This was in the late 90s. With Bobby
Late night.
Wade.
Yeah. I was at ASU when Bobby Wade came through. Yeah.
I see where you.
Do you see what I'm saying there, Bruce? Yeah, that was my era right there.
Okay.
I graduated Dobson in '95, by the way, just to preface.
Okay,
It's kind of like when you're driving, you hear and the golden oldies. It's like I listened to that when I was in college.
Okay, how about if we go
No.
now and new school?
Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean Bobby Wade really up there. Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, and let me tell you something. Jim Rattay was the head coach at Desert Vista at the time. His son, John Rattay, was the quarterback.
Yep.
And I still even remember being at a game that Philip Fulmer, head coach at Tennessee, came to watch John play. Now, I didn't know John was a terrific high hurdler until I'm watching the track season. I mean, this dude was like one of the best
Really?
hurdlers in the state.
Really?
Unbelievable. But at any rate, I mean, Bobby Wade was just unbelievable. I mean, Desert Vista was kind of like the new school on the block at the time. And I guess you can still count Mesa Mountain View as the preeminent power, big school power in the state. And I mean, they couldn't even stop Wade. I think they went 14-0. And they were state champ. I mean, this kid he was more of a running back, but he was a terrific receiver, just like Bijan out of the backfield.
Just get him the ball.
So U of A made him a wide receiver, and he had all the records until some guy named Teteroy McMillan came around.
T-Mac came around.
And of course he went on to the NFL playing receiver as well. So yeah, Bobby Wade was just a.
So you wouldn't put any of the Saguaro guys, DJ Foster?
That's what I was going to ask.
Hey, let me tell you something. I'm just going on what my eyes saw.
Oh, I know.
And
it's a great conversation.
DJ was. I was at a game. He had 8 touchdowns in a game. I mean, he was a phenomenal two-way player. Make no mistake about it. All of what I'm telling you is arguable.
No. But what I'm saying is, I trust your opinion on certain things. You see them with your own eyes. I never got to see Bobby Wade play.
Oh, terrific.
So when you say that you would take him if you had a first pick in a high school draft, you'd take him over DJ Foster. That says something. Now, what about defensively?
Defensively, my goodness, that's a really, really good question.
Yeah.
That much harder?
I think it is because
Defensive guys don't stand out.
No,
if you're good at defense, you did something else.
What are you going to go by? Obviously talent,
That's what I mean.
but sacks, interception.
Yeah.
Defensive guys don't stand out as much. They don't get the opportunity. Like I think it was Kevin McCabe said Toby Wright, which I was too young to see Toby Wright. I just know of his lore from going to Dobson.
Yeah, he played at Dobson, and again, he was one of those two-way players. I just didn't see now. Toby made a lot of good plays. Now, look, I'm going to mention a name, but because he wound up being our Friday Night Fever Defensive Player of the Year, and he was just under the radar guy. Wasn't even recruited. Walked on at Arizona State. Became an Pac-12 All-American, and I guess it was Pac-10 then, and a first-round pick in the NFL. His name was Adam Archuleta.
Okay.
Oh yes.
But
where did he go to school?
Arizona State.
Yeah, he went to Chandler High School.
Yeah, Chandler.
Chandler High School.
Okay.
Yeah.
I heard he was a workout fiend.
You know what? I'll tell you another player just hit me that came from Chandler that I would make in there for sure. Cameron Jordan.
I was going to say
he was our Friday Night Fever Defensive Players as well. Cameron Jordan, no doubt. I would just say that
with the Saints.
Yeah.
Now he's with the Saints?
Well, yeah,
he's been around forever.
He's been around forever. I mean, I think he has over 100 career sacks in the NFL.
Yeah.
I think he's destined for.
Well, it's one of those things. I think whenever you get in a conversation like this, you have to set the parameters. Okay, is it high school solely
It is
career?
high school, and let me tell you something. And it is. You have to do that solely.
Yeah.
And I even asked myself when I was looking at Bijan Robinson, because there was a kid named Mario Bates that came out of Tucson as well, a kid named Kadeem Carey. I mean, they have had some serious running backs
Yes.
come out of the South down there.
Yeah.
But I think what set Bijan apart from me is his hands. I mean, it's almost like Bobby Wade.
Yeah.
I mean, they just have wide receiver hands, field vision, and just the elusiveness and the tackle breaking. I mean, they were just. I think they stood heads and shoulders above the rest for me, just from that complete package standpoint.
Yeah, it's interesting because I know Richard Obert a couple years ago did what I thought I find those things kind of fascinating. The top 5 athletes from certain high schools.
Oh, okay.
And he put me on Saguaros as like number 3.
Oh, really?
But
You have Obert's number. I gotta have this guy.
Well,
drug
let's
tested.
be fair. It's because Obert sees him all the time, so Obert's trying to be nice to him.
But that wasn't based on my high school career. Because on my high school career, there's so many guys in the 2000s from Saguaro that were, I mean, that whole side of the stadium with all Americans and all that. But the body of work is what he took into account.
I remember the first star that we covered at Saguaro High School, because he was our Friday Night Fever Offensive Player of the Year. His name was Mike Brown.
Yeah, 95 or something.
Yeah, and he went on to be a defensive standout in the National Football League.
He went to Nebraska, I think.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
the Bears and
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Mike Brown was the first guy.
Which brings me to my point. You didn't name a quarterback at all.
A quarter. If I had
Yeah, I
to
mean, we
go-
had some big name quarterbacks that rolled through here, through this town. That some went on to good careers, like Fitzpatrick. Some
that's the
some
thing.
didn't,
like,
but
if you don't say a Fitzpatrick or something somebody's heard of, there you don't know
That's
what
what-
you're
that's
talking
what I
about.
mean.
It's
That's what I
well,
mean. So
high
who's-
school wise,
Who's that guy in high school that was everybody
Well-
was like, oh, because then you got the guys like Dan Pierre who had a good high school career and nobody recruited him, and now look at him up there in Utah.
I'm going to throw a name out to you. They never won a state title. But this kid, I mean, you talk about just unbelievable. I mean, just a complete, absolute winner. His name was Mike Nixon. He played at Sunny Slope High School.
he was a quarterback.
Yes, and then get this. Let me show you how good he was. He was like a first-round pick in baseball for the Dodgers.
Yeah, that's where I've heard his name.
Right. And then when he decided that baseball wasn't for him, he came back to ASU and didn't play as a quarterback, but was a starting linebacker. I mean, that's the type of athlete this kid
Well,
is.
that's when you said that, I would have even thought he played quarterback. Because I've heard that
Well,
name.
Mike,
That's what's amazing about like the quarterback position is because like you could take a running back and move him to the defensive line, similar skill set, stuff like that. But quarterback, to go from quarterback and end up as a linebacker.
Yeah.
linebacker, starting linebacker at ASU.
Yeah.
So I mean, Ralph Hampson, who obviously varsity, .com covers high school football here and stuff. Tight end, he's got Todd Heap. Wide receiver, he's got Mark Andrews.
You know what? I'll tell you what. Mark Andrews. It was a tough decision. His quarterback, I think it was Chad Christensen.
Yes.
And it's like, man, who's going to be my Friday Night Offensive Player of the Year? I mean, you can't say one without the other.
Yeah.
I mean,
One sets up the other one, right?
Yeah, and so no, you know what? I think I'm wrong on Chad Christensen. It was another guy.
Allen. It was this.
Kyle Allen.
Kyle Allen.
Oh, the one that went to Texas A&M?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's it. So yeah, thanks, Bill. Thanks for helping me out.
All right, so those wide receivers, who else does he have?
He's got DJ Foster as the slot. DJ Foster didn't play slot though, right? He was a running back, and they failed him out. Yeah, I know. And then he had he's the one that has Terrell Suggs as a fullback because he actually went to high school with him, so he knows that. Bijan Robinson, Brock Purdy as quarterback is who he has as the best. But was Brock Purdy great at quarterback compared to some of these other guys?
Brock Purdy was definitely he was our Friday Night Fever Offensive Player of the Year, but he could never beat Chandler High School.
That's what I was going to bring up.
Chandler beat them back to back
So that Hundley kid wasn't. Did they play against each other? You think Hundley?
I think it was no. It
Brett
was
Hundley?
That was before Hundley and
Yeah.
Chandler.
Okay.
I think the quarterback then.
Yeah, see, I mean, look at the names
Yeah.
that we're just you guys are naming right now.
Yeah,
and those are guys who've made it to the NFL.
That's what I mean. Those are guys. Well, then had good college careers.
Yeah.
Brett Hundley had a great
I
college
can't
career.
think of.
We got my. It's too early for
I know,
most of
right?
mine
Well,
to be thinking.
I mean, just because you're an offensive lineman, I mean, Richie Incognito, I've always equated as being one of the best offensive linemen to ever play the
Let me
high
tell you.
school
Let
game,
me give
let
you.
alone
Let
up.
me give you a story there. He played at Mountain Ridge High School.
Yeah.
Jim Ewing was the head coach at Mountain Ridge at that time. He later went on to Chandler High School.
Yeah.
Now, this is the first time this has ever happened to me. I was at a mountain.
I'm scared. This is a Richie
No.
Incognito, so I'm
I
scared.
was at a Mountain Ridge game. Never in my life has an offensive lineman just stood out
Yeah.
to my naked eye watching.
Yeah.
This guy was just obliterating people.
Yeah. And
I mean, he really
big.
was. I'm
He
like,
was
son
big.
of a gun.
Yeah.
Who is this dude?
Yes.
Yeah. It was Richie
I
Incognito.
saw him one time in high school, and I was like, that guy's not in high school. There's no way that
Yeah.
guy's in high school.
Hey, let me tell you something.
But he has Randall McDaniel. He's got Andres Pete, which I think a lot of people would have, right? John Tate, obviously, and then Levi Jones. That's hard to argue with.
Yeah,
right?
you can't. Right.
It's hard to argue with, but
I don't know anybody
but
else,
I'm going to
but-
tell you this. I also went to Saguaro High School. I went for a practice because I was going to do a feature out there. I think Goldstein was the head coach at the time,
Okay.
Stuart Goldstein. And there were two players that I said, son of a gun. These guys are bigger than the people at ASU and the Cardinals. I'm on the sideline for both those games.
Yeah.
I said, what are they feeding these kids? You know who they were? Oh my gosh! I just had their names Kyle Caldwell
Yeah.
and guy that went to Northwestern.
Lauren Howard.
Lauren Howard.
Yeah.
Lauren Howard
Oh,
and Kyle
Caldwell was that big in high school?
Oh my
He would-
God!
I sat next to him about 8 years after he went to ASU, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then after his ASU playing career, I was at a bowl game and he was there and sitting next to me, and like I had to like move over 2 seats because he was just still a giant human being, not like a bad giant, but I was just like, this guy's huge. He was big in high school even.
Oh man! I asked him. I said, "Man, what are you guys feeding these kids out here? I mean, this is unbelievable."
Yeah.
But see, what's fascinating about those guys, like you can go to that Saguaro, the stadium. They have all the All-Americans on the side of the stadium, painted on there, and it's a nice gig. But Kyle Caldwell, as dominant as any defensive lineman in the state, I'd put probably in the Griffin category in high school. But injuries, whatever, caught up with him at ASU. Lauren Howard had never really played at Northwestern, came back here. Something happened to all these guys. The reason Incognito's name always stands out, I think, is some of the stuff off the field.
He was a surly guy. He
You
got in
know,
a lot of trouble.
and so you know that. But 2 stories. One, Andres Pete. I was coaching at SCA. We were over at ASU for a camp. They had a big man area. We weren't going against them. But, I mean, he's walking around. I'm going, who is that dude? He's a junior, and all that. And then I saw his dad. I played with his dad, Todd. I mean, how these kids came from him, I'll never know.
That's the thing. Like they're either bigger or taller than him, right?
Well,
So-
he's only like 6 foot,
yeah, and
6'1".
he was a pretty good NFL.
Oh no, he made
back
the
in day.
NFL and
Yeah.
started and all that.
Yeah, and his
but
kids are all just tower over. him.
Yes.
Of course. What's his name? Pete down at U of A. That's what we're talking
Koa.
about. Koa Pete's
Go
brother.
Pete.
Yeah.
And then the other one is Randall McDaniel. They used to do this arm wrestling competition up in Las Vegas, and every NFL team would send a lineman and a running back.
I love.
And
this.
one year I went, and it was me and Alonzo Highsmith.
Wow.
All right, who's a natural left-hander, but he had an arm wrestle right-handed, strong.
He played for Highsmith played for the Houston Oilers.
Yes, but
Yes.
the Houston Oilers, the Cowboys traded for him. Played for the University of Miami. A super nice guy, and we probably won 3 or 4 matches between us. You could mix match, whatever. He was better than I was. I won maybe 2 matches, and then he won 2 or 3, and then Randall McDaniel and I faced off. And I got, you get all set and all ready and all that, and they tap the thing or blow the whistle, and boop! I literally thought he tore my shoulder and elbow socket out of my body. And I said, my goodness, because we always knew him in the NFL. He always had this weird stance. Mm-hmm. His feet and whatever were just weird. But then he'd kill people. And one of the nicest guys, but those are the two guys for that list that stand out.
Yeah, and I remember Andres Pete, his signing day.
Yeah.
We went to Corona. Me and my photographer went to Corona del Sol. Now, we had to yield for ESPN. He was doing a live. He was making his announcement live via ESPN. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah. So
and that guy, what year? I mean, what years were that? I mean, because that wasn't a thing back then when he was in there.
Yeah, you know what?
It was starting to become one.
To be accurate on it, you'd have to look it up. But we had to defer.
Where did he go to school?
He went to Corona del Sol.
No, but where did he go to college?
Oh, Stanford.
Damn. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, those are some names and memories.
I'm gonna look that up there because it wasn't. I mean.
Corona del Sol's had some great athletes come through there.
Isn't that amazing for where it's at and the size of it?
Basketball-wise.
It is amazing.
Well, yeah, basketball-wise, I think they like four-peated. I mean, they had.
So he was in Stanford.
Casey Benson.
He was in Stanford in 2012.
Casey Benson
Bagley.
and Bagley.
Oh,
Yeah,
Bagley, yeah. I forgot about Bagley.
Yeah.
2012 was when he went to Stanford. So,
okay.
It's early. I was going to say early 2000s, but.
Yeah. You're just getting old, Steve.
I know. I can't equate him at that point, right? Well, it could have been that old. I got to remember his brothers are and everything, of course, out there. So, Bruce, appreciate you joining us on Tuesday's Lively Conversations here. I have a feeling it's going to get livelier because we're going to talk a little Suns here.
Okay.
Sun season starts tomorrow coming up here and get Bruce's prediction as well. And we'll get your thoughts on the World Series coming up. And then, of course, Cardinals. And Kenny Dillingham spoke yesterday after that big win. We'll get your thoughts there on Texas Tech. It's amazing how winning makes you forget about red zone offense and the punting situation and stuff like that.
Charlie Ragle on the hot seat.
That's what I was going to bring up here because you both know Charlie Ragle.
Charlie Ragle.
And I see a lot of people on. You should never know who the special teams coach is. And I see a lot of people posting his picture these days going, this guy needs to move on. So we'll talk about that and more. So come on back. It's the main event. Just telling you, watch what you say, Dale. We're about to go live again.
We need longer breaks. Coop and I were just going down memory lane.
I know.
And but to finish the story, off there we were talking about me not getting a scholarship offered at ASU. Blah,
Dale
blah.
complaining again.
And Danny Cush came up to me at this function and said, "Please keep telling the story. It's fantastic." And then Coop goes, he's known for a field goal against Nebraska in the Fiesta Bowl.
Danny Cush.
Danny Cush. And I heard him tell the story. He said that summer he kicked and played football in high school, but wasn't playing in college. He was that summer, being a lifeguard and just hanging out. And all of a sudden, like 5 days into Camp Tonazona, gets a call from his dad, on the hard line.
Oh, Frank.
Yeah, and say, hey, we need a kicker. You're our kicker. Somebody got hurt or somebody was messing up, and.
I've never heard
that.
Is that right?
So he packed a bag and drove up to Camp Tonazona, and he's their kicker that year.
Wow.
Yeah,
it hit that game winner
day.
Yeah, in the Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because he kicked locally at Tempe or something like that.
Kenny Dillingham's kids are too small for him to call them and ask them to punt this year.
Yeah.
So
it's Fred Mortensen, I think, was the quarterback, and they played together in high school.
Fred Mortensen and Dennis Brown.
Yes. Okay.
These names, man.
Yeah.
Even a stretch of my memories, man. I mean, I wasn't. You
were alive.
I wasn't around back then, but I know a lot of that. I know, but it's just like, man, you guys are killing me here.
That was 72 or something like that.
Yeah,
I think I was 10 years old. I'm like, can't wait to play for ASU.
There was another quarterback there at that same time period, but they converted him to a tight end. You ever remember the name Bruce Hardy?
Oh yeah,
vaguely I do.
I do.
I actually got into one of the local sports reporters wrote a big story. I want to say Doug Holler, but don't quote me on that. On ASU's history and stuff like that, and I got it, and I was all studying it and stuff like that. So, and then I was like, oh man, we were in the WAC. What are we What are we celebrating that for?
Some great memories.
Just kidding.
That's why the
why
Fiesta Bowl
Days
came
is.
around.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because they couldn't get into
Because
the other
ASU
ones.
wouldn't get invited to one of the bowl games.
Yeah, so they created their own. That's the best. Well, they honored the 75 team.
Yeah.
That was 12-0 of the week. I was surprised. I shouldn't say this, but I was surprised at how many of them were there when they honored them. I don't remember when they did it during the game because the game was so phenomenal that I forget when they honored them now. I was surprised at how many guys were still down there.
You said the game was phenomenal?
Yeah.
Well, I'm telling you.
Most fun I've had at a football game in a long time.
Oh, yeah.
But keep in mind, I'm old. I'm jaded. I've been going to ASU games since I was a kid.
Let me tell you. I just kept saying, where is Cam Scatterboo? I mean, it's beginning to be a recurring theme. And it's a nightmarish recurring theme.
All the running backs are hurt.
ASU cannot finish drives. They get to the red zone. They get inside the 5-yard line. I don't care if it's first and goal from the one. They just can't punch it in. I mean, and when you
is that leading to the play calls though? Is that leading to the? I swear to God, you throw one more quick throw to a receiver that gets tackled for a 2-yard loss in the red zone. I was about ready to run down there and volunteer my services of just give me the ball and let me run straight ahead.
Well, I'm telling you,
Now you're saying Cam Scatterboo. Is any of this going to go on? Because what I've noticed is, yes, of course you miss Cam Scatterboo. He's a beast.
automatic
He's a beast.
touchdown.
He's a beast, and he's shown it in the NFL, which I did not think he could do what he's doing so far. He's got to learn to avoid a couple nonsensical head-on
Did you see that touchdown last year where like he ran like he scored the touchdown and then still went and hit another guy?
Yeah, I mean those are the ones that after this season he'll probably watch film and go, yeah, I don't need any more of those. But ASU's offensive line is not as good as it was last year. There are guys coming free a lot.
Well, especially in this game.
You know, and
especially early.
And last week against Utah.
Yeah.
And I'm watching them, Coop. If it's the same offensive line coach, I don't recognize the techniques that they're using.
It's the same line coach.
And so I'm wondering how much of it has to do with the other. What would Cam Scatterboo be doing this year the way the offensive line is playing?
To be fair, if you go back and watch, there were times Cam Scatterboo, most of the time, did not have a hole, and he would pick up 4 or 5 yards just because he would run guys
They
over.
would always at least get him a lot of times to the second level.
Yeah, yeah, but I tell you what, if ASU wants to get back to the Big 12 game and even win that, because I mean, right now I'm looking at a game between I think BYU right now, along with
BYU and Cincinnati are the undefeated. Yep.
Well, those two play each other, so
yes,
and that's going there. But Texas Tech is not going away. I wasn't really a believer. I had heard all this talk about how much money they had spent. But I said it's still Texas Tech. It's still
Lubbock.
It's still Lubbock, Texas.
And I'll be darned, that's a very good football team. Now
that defensive line, they were missing their best guy too.
Yeah, that's what I hear. And
well, the two things,
and they're missing their quarterback.
Yes,
too.
And that's the one thing I've not heard one person say since Saturday is the fact that great win for ASU. I don't want to take anything away from it. It's a great win, and the way they did it, they overcame adversity. Blah blah. But what does the game look like if they're starting quarterbacks in there?
Well, and that's why that brings me to the point that I'm trying to make. Because Baron Morton, you figure he will be healthy, and if it is a Big 12 matchup, a rematch between ASU and Texas Tech, ASU has to have that problem solved of red zone scoring. I mean, they cannot survive.
I don't know how you can solve that in the season when you're in week 7, week 8, and you're still having red zone problems.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, just sitting in that stadium and watching it, I mean, it's just like, why? Why are you throwing a quick wide receiver out when you see the defense, on top of them? They're pressing them. It's not like the cornerbacks 5-10 yards back. You could see him on there, and they still throw it out there, and he gets tackled. And it's like, why are you doing that?
And when you get inside the 10-yard line, I mean, you can come up and play press because you're not
going to get beat for a 60-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
And it's infuriating watching it.
And so I hear you from that standpoint, but I'm telling you, I don't know. Maybe I'd use some of those misdirection boots for Sam Levitt, because man, it's not working off tackle or up the
Yeah,
middle.
but even if they're at the 22 or 25-yard line, because that's not technically the red zone.
yeah, 20.
You watch them make those play calls. There's never a shot at the end zone. It's rarely a shot at the end zone. It's like it's a 5 or 10-yard pass. If they score from there, it's because somebody breaks a tackle and gets in there. It's just there's never a shot at the end zone. There's no Jordan Tyson, running along the back of the end zone. There's no Jordan Tyson pulling some defenders out there. Tight end, 7, runs across the middle there. You throw it up to him, and none of those plays ever happen. It's like when they get in the red zone or close to it, it's like the ASU goes, oh, we don't have any yards to go with, so we better throw everything short.
Yeah,
and that's where I get frustrated.
Well, one thing I was happy to see as they started, because I've been on this program and I talked about they have a deeper wide receiver core than they did a year ago.
Yeah.
And they're finally using Jaron Hamilton.
Oh,
I mean,
my
he
goodness.
he caught a couple bombs.
That kid is fast.
Yes, he is extremely
That was the
fast.
first time where I went, okay, I see what everybody's talking about. Was this game,
Yeah.
which is terrible that it's week 8 and
why
you're
you
just
wait
seeing
this
it
long,
now.
man? Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I'm saying. And so they have like a true freshman. His name is Harry Hassman.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's a taller version of Derek Eusebio, who's a shorter
Short
slot
guy, yeah.
and stuff.
But he's got speed too.
Yeah, they have some guys on there that can catch ball. Now, granted, Moss can't stay healthy.
I know. That's
I mean,
disappointing.
I know they were counting on this kid. I mean, Fresno State transfer. He's had over 100 receptions and probably 20 touchdowns in his career there, but he just can't stay healthy.
Well, let me again. The two things that I think have not been talked about enough. Obviously, Texas Tech's quarterback. We mentioned that, but now who's number 10? What the right receiver name? Just
no, 10 is Sam Levitt. 0 is Jordan Tyson.
is Jordan Tyson. Nobody's mentioned his hamstring.
Dale, it's funny Dale says that.
Nobody's mentioned it.
Because even on that 4th and 2 pass play, you could tell that he was just looking to say, okay, how far can I get before I have to go down?
Yeah.
I was watching him on the sideline, and nobody was tending to him, but he was bending over and like stretching it out a lot and moving around to that side. I think it's worse than we think it is. I think when he woke
I
up
would
on
not be
Sunday,
surprised if whenever the injury report has to come out
tomorrow.
tomorrow,
The first
that
one.
his name will be on there, and I would not be surprised if he doesn't play this week.
Yeah, and here's the deal: Houston 6-1. They're also 3-1 in the conference as well, and so it's a big game.
They beat my Wildcats.
Yeah, they did. Hey, you know what? We do need to talk about that, don't we?
Hey,
Yeah.
Arizona's lost 2 games in the last second.
Dale, I tell you what, that
He's so angry about
I
that.
am.
I tell you what, Morton Steakhouse started selling.
Yes, yeah. They'll messed up on that. Well, nobody saw Houston. I mean, you think I even watched that Arizona game, and I was like, Houston's a better than average team in the Big 12. I think they're sneaky good. They can come up and bite you if you're not ready for it this weekend. And I wonder, after last week, the big emotional win after a big emotional loss against Utah, this is a big danger this weekend coming into this game. It's easy to go, it's only Houston. We'll beat them.
Yeah, but I like the way ASU responds and plays at home. I mean, I didn't know that they were 9-0 under Dillingham in their last 9 home games. So I think that means something. I think it matters to these kids. So
the crowds this year, last year ramped up to get to this as the season went on. The crowds this year, I mean, I saw it reached 120 decibels on Saturday. Like I said, it was the most fun I remember having in an ASU game in years. Now, last year it was fun at times, but, as the season went on. But I'm just talking about just overall this time of the season. It was just like, oh, my gosh, this is so much fun.
I'm telling you, the game that endeared me to both Dillingham and to Scatterboo was the Utah game.
Yeah, last
I
year.
mean,
But a lot of that was
Dillingham-
afterwards, right?
Dylan, what coach goes crowd surfing? I rewound and played that like 20 times.
He just disappeared. They're interviewing him, and he just disappears into the crowd.
Well, everyone like he did it in his post game interview this past weekend,
with
where
that girl.
I think he dropped a.
Yeah, I think they had to mute his mic.
Yeah, and they said, "I'm gonna go celebrate and be done with it."
It's a fun thing, and I'll say this about Sam Levitt: he's got an ankle problem. That injury, like I was kind of like skeptical on it, like all right, they're punting on Utah, whatever. He did not. He ran as the game went on, but he did not look. He was running differently.
Yeah.
He was running. I'm not going to say a limp, but you could tell he wasn't running with his normal stride. So whatever happened to him, but he wasn't doing that at the end of the TCU game. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to keep saying. He was not running like that at the end of the TCU game, Coach. I don't care how disgusted you are with this talk. He was not running like that in the TCU game, and he ran like that the other night. But, I mean, Sam Levitt's the heart and soul of this team this year. Cam Scatterby last year, you lose in that, and it's an amazing thing to watch these guys. And they just don't quit, which is an amazing thing to see. They're just in these close games. They're like, yeah, fine, go take the lead. We're going to take it right back again.
Okay, so when you look at ASU, obviously huge win. They came back and they were ahead. Then they special teams came in.
Punter.
Ugly head.
We have to be specific because field goal kicker won Big 12 Player of the Week,
Right.
Special Teams Player of the Week.
Jesus
So we're talking
Gomez.
punter.
Yes.
So we can't. I struggle when people say special teams because it's one specific branch of it.
Well, it is, but that's like, okay, well, offense struggled.
No,
Well, it's the offensive line that struggled, or
And it wasn't just the punter. I know a lot of people are like, we need a new punter. It was that whole coverage team. It was the blocking scheme.
Kickoff recovery team and punt recovery team.
Oh, my goodness.
Look, if Canyon Floyd is hurt that bad and he can only get off 29-yard punts and stuff like that.
But then they were blocking him.
Yeah. And I know the week before in Utah, they used his replacement, and he didn't fare so well. I mean, maybe Gomez can do a dual job. I don't know, but that definitely has to get corrected.
The disappointing thing was like a punt would get blocked, or so it would fall down there, and then ASU wouldn't be anywhere near it. A Utah guy would pick it up and return it for 20 yards.
Yeah.
And it's like, where's the team? What are you yelling when the punt's blocked so you can go find it? And why are they returning these things 20, 30 yards without being touched before somebody gets there?
And to the 12-yard line, and you're only up 5. And so, sure enough, first play,
that was the big
back
one.
shoulder touchdown.
Well, and the reason that it holds a special place in mine is because we all know the special teams coach.
Yes.
And there's very few special teams coaches that as Steve pointed out. Joe Avazano with the Cowboys, you knew him because he always stood on the sideline, walked on the field.
Larger than life.
Yes. And he had this big personality. And quick story about Joe Avazano. I mean, he's a yeller and a screamer, but you knew that he loved you. I don't think he ever yelled at me, but the thing is, it was so funny. He was mic'd up for one game.
Oh, no.
He was mic'd up for one game, and his demeanor completely changed. And all of a sudden, he's walking over to that guy's going, now, what can I do to help you? I mean, how can I help you get downfield? And finally, I looked at him, and I think Troy was standing by me. We looked at him, and I go, hey, Avazano. He goes, yeah. Are you mic'd up? Yeah. Completely different thing. But you don't know special teams coaches.
No.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you're getting to know who Charlie Regal is.
What are the ones we knew? The Cardinals, right? That Amos guy with Bruce Arians. We knew his name because of those things. So that's when you know him.
Right.
That's when you know him, yeah.
And just a little history on Charlie Regal. In his Chaparral tenure, he had a good offensive coordinator, had a good defense coordinator. They were winning state championships. So he wanted something to do, so he took over special teams. And the first game we did for Cox, they ran a kickoff back. And I said, well, Charlie Regal, he's a hell of a head coach, but my goodness, he doesn't know anything about special teams.
The interesting thing about it, because I looked it up to make sure, because I was going to say it, but they have him listed as assistant head coach and special teams coordinator.
Yeah.
Well,
So this isn't somebody you're firing. You
No.
might.
Well, he's not gonna. Well, let's put it like this. Kenny Dillingham worked under Charlie Regal
Yes.
when he was the head coach. When Regal was head coach at Chaparral, and
Yeah.
of course, like Dale talked about with the Devontae Neals and Brewers that were quarter.
The big offensive tackle who played for Tennessee for a lot of years. I'm forgetting
He's
his
busting with the boys guy. I know, and I'm forgetting
yeah,
Taylor.
what is his name?
Taylor Lewan.
Yeah, Taylor Lewan.
Well, he played at Michigan. That's what threw me off. He played at Tennessee.
Yeah.
He played at Michigan.
Oh, Titans.
He was on our all-fever team. I remember. And they also Chaparral also had a guy with this Russian last name. I can't even think of his. I'm proud to pronounce it right now.
Yeah.
But
They had some players.
because Charlie had to help me with the pronunciation. I said, dude, well, how do I? Because he was a big guy, stood out. But yeah, he had this Russian last name that was.
But I mean, even if you fired, let's just say, and if you fired Charlie Regal today, how's that going to improve your special teams?
It's not, and
that's
they're
my
not
point.
going. He's not going to do that.
No, that's what I'm saying. Once you're an assistant head coach, if anything, you're going to get more of a side. But it's fascinating. But I don't know how you saw that in the middle of this. And now the punter is hurt. He's been all over the injury report.
Yeah.
Missed the Utah game, stuff to that effect. They keep running him out there. But the most important, okay, so he's only going to be able to punt at 10, 15 yards. We can live with that. The problem
I might
is,
go for it on fourth down.
yeah,
then.
but the problem is the 30, 40-yard
coverage,
returns, and the coverage side of it is the problem.
Even the kickoff, returns. Texas Tech was really bottled up by that ASU swarming defense in pretty much the first half. Their biggest plays offensively were when ASU scored a field goal. They get a nice return on the kickoff team. And I'm like, wow.
So it's not just that punting side of things. And, I heard a lot of stuff. Well, they're freshmen. They got to learn this. It's like, come on, we're 8 games into the season here. But then injuries are affecting it, of course. Well, Kenny Dillingham talked about special teams yesterday. Do we want to hear what he has to say?
Sure.
Kenny Dillingham on special teams.
Yeah, just really bad football. Bad football, embarrassingly bad football that I'm going to get fixed. So like I said, we kept the entire team in our special teams meeting today. And we said, we're going to watch every one of these plays together, quarterbacks, O-line, I don't care. You're staying in here because everybody needs to understand how important this was to winning and losing a football game. And I haven't done a good enough job making sure people understand the importance. And it was a reality check this last week for us as a football team to get better at that area. And there's going to be an improved intensity, an improved effort, an improved mindset in those phases of the game, because that was just unacceptable.
Here's my question. Before you guys say it, here's my question. You know what's also egregious on this team besides the punting and the special teams? The red zone offense. Is he making the defense sit in and watch film on the red zone offensive plays and stuff like that? Or are we just picking out the punting unit?
Well, here's the thing that's super interesting to me, because in Dallas for 11 years, we all watched the entire team watched special teams. So many teams do pre-practice as special teams, and Joe was after the first year. Joe was adamant. It's not pre-practice. It's one practice starts and then we do special teams.
They include
There was an emphasis on special teams. I've also been on teams that don't make special teams an emphasis, and the players on special teams on those teams were not as good as the ones on the Dallas Cowboys, because you don't ever want to mess up in front of and get called out in front of your entire team. The film session is really interesting.
That's a good point.
Really interesting when the whole team has to sit in there, and that now they're watching you and they're finding, oh, you didn't do your assignment, you didn't do your assignment. That's a whole different sort of pressure than it is when it's just you and 12 other guys.
But Kenny Dillingham, Bruce, does have a special teams problem. Had it last year with the field goal kicker. Now he's got this creeping into it. To Dale's point, now we're not out of practice. I'm here instead of going to practice. But this just tells me it's not an emphasis for these guys. They don't look into it. They don't. I'm going to say practice it hard. I could be incorrect on that. But it's not an emphasis, and it gets put by the wayside, and it's cost them 2 years in a row now.
Yeah, well, I'm glad he's recognized it, and he's trying to make it a point of emphasis. He recognized the woes a year ago and had a open tryout for place kickers, and so they didn't lose any more games after the Cincinnati game. I believe they wound up 11-2 or 12-2 overall. So before they lost on 4th and 13 to Texas. But
cover zero.
maybe lightning will strike a second time in that regard because I like the way their schedule is shaping up. I do believe that they can beat Houston. Their next biggest test then would be on the road at Iowa State.
And they have a bye week and then at Iowa State.
Yeah, and then there's then they finish up with
West Virginia
and Colorado, which neither one of those teams scare me. But you always got to give
the weather
respect.
in Colorado worries me.
Right, but you always have to give respect to the Territorial Cup, and so they got Arizona. So it's
Don't worry,
something-
Brennan will blow something there. Don't worry about that with his coaching. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, it's something that's doable. So that I think they can replicate because you got to like the fact that the only team that has a tiebreaker over them was Utah, but Utah lost to BYU, and so.
Yeah, their second Big 12 loss.
Yeah. And so, they no longer have that advantage over. So ASU controls its own destiny to the Big 12. And so you like that when you're this deep in the season that you control your own destiny.
Right.
And so that's where they are.
Well, and the other thing I do want to point out, I think we're all fans of Kenny Dillingham, but I'll speak for myself. Huge fan of Kenny's. And if nobody's talking about this either, the last 2 weeks he's come out. Last week he came out, he said, we're not practicing physical enough. That's on me.
Called his team soft. They got soft on the team.
And that's on me. We changed things this week. This week, special teams. We're doing something. We're going to start doing things differently. I've recognized that. Been a shortcoming. I'm taking responsibility for it. We're going to get that rectified. You don't hear a whole lot of head coaches go to their weekly press conference and saying, hey, I'm doing things wrong. That's the reason that we're struggling in this area.
Well, I think that's one of the things that kind of endears Dillingham to a lot of the fan base. I mean, when he was hired, and I'm going to speak for myself, I was not a fan of the hire because I said, look, we are in deep trouble right now. We're in the abyss. We have a probationary period hanging over us. I don't need a snotty-nosed, wet behind the ear coach, first-time head coach leading us. I want a veteran head coach. And they hired Dillingham. And what he did last year, I went up to him. I apologized to him, man. I mean, I said, man, and he's such a great guy. He said, Coop, don't worry about it. I understand. Right. But here's the deal. What endears him is that he'll tell you, I don't know it all. Yeah. And he mentioned last week that after the Utah loss, he started calling some of these veteran
other people.
coaches.
Called his buddies.
So that is, and so he's letting you know, I don't have all the answers, but I'm searching for those answers. I don't mind calling myself out and stuff, and I think that's a beautiful thing.
It's a great thing because, we'll stay at ASU,
yeah.
but when we
get
to the professional team here, you hear the head coach say, "No, everything's good. No, we're not going to change anything.
No, we're going back to what we know. I have confidence in our system."
Well,
and all of that.
I will say this: I do agree with him going back to Kyler Murray.
Okay, we'll get into that. But I'm
going to talk about it.
We'll go get into that. But that's a redeeming quality that Kenny has.
You don't hear from anybody else.
And you name the next guy that you hear something like that.
The head coach of Clemson, Debo is not doing that. He's doubling down on his system. I've won here for years. If you don't like this year, James Franklin was on ESPN Game Day. Well, when I get to my next school, we're going to go win a championship with my system and the way I run things. And it's like you didn't learn anything about the Penn State experience you just went through, and stuff like that. It is refreshing. I like it. And I'm not going to lie to you before we get, and I got a couple other ASU things, and then we'll move over to the Cardinals. But it's turning me against Jonathan Gannon. And I realized that yesterday, part of the reason why I'm turning against Jonathan Gannon is because Kenny Dillingham. He's doing it the way that I think head coaches should do it. Jonathan Gannon's doing it the old way, and I'm actually in my mind going, Jonathan Gannon needs to.
Before you get to those,
it's amazing.
Before you get to those couple ASU things, I don't know if you saw this, but Herm Edwards was supposedly talking somewhere, and I saw it on Twitter.
I ignore him.
Did you retweet it?
No, I did not. No, I do not publicize.
You're just talking about a head coach and how the entire program.
Yeah. He's talking about ASU's program.
Yeah, no, he's talking about somebody else
in general.
In general. How the head coach.
He doesn't talk about ASU anymore.
No,
he will not. They bring him up, and he's like offset.
Yeah. So it's when you talked about, he came in, Dillingham came in as really in a position that there was no upside at that moment when he took that job. And now.
And he wanted it.
Yeah, so.
A lot of coaches, shied away from that job at that moment. He said, I'll take it. We'll see what we can do with it. Just really quick here. This is the other thing about Kenny Dillingham that I find redeeming. You played in an era, I'm going to guess, Jimmy Johnson, unless you were a star, probably did not know your name on the team. He just called you by your number. That was an era that I remember in football. I mean, as you were coming up, was that a lot of it where guys were just like, 34, knock it off, or whatever? Or do they know their names unless they're superstars?
They mostly always knew me, but
it's always about him, isn't it, Bruce?
But I remember Buddy Ryan with the Cardinals.
Oh.
He never mentioned anybody. Everybody's always a number.
but he would say
Seth
that
Joyner.
about Reggie White.
That's what I mean.
92.
Even his guys, like Seth Joyner, who's like they're like best buds, and he would call him by his number. But I mean, that was an atmosphere. Kenny Dillingham yesterday. I found this interesting. The next two clips I found interesting from Kenny Dillingham, and it goes to just the enduring side of it, not just for us as fans and people covering the team, but I'm sure it goes a long way with today's players as well. Kenny Dillingham's talking specifically about the players' names.
People on our staff call me crazy. I don't know all of our players' numbers. I know who they are. I can tell you their names. I can look at them and say, or see them run or see them walk and be like, oh, that's Clayton, right? I could see Boogie or X or Sam. I'd be like, oh, that's Sam. That's JT. That's Jalen. But I don't always know their numbers. I know them as people, and I do that directly. I want people to know people in our program, not a number. 32, come here. No, Prince, come here. There's a big difference to me.
Well, he knew Prince Dorba's number.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
No, look, I hadn't heard that clip, and
it was yesterday's press conference.
And I'll tell you, that's a great point. I mean, look, I would. You hear somebody like that. That's the type of coach you want to send your kid to play for.
That's what I'm getting at. And if you're a kid in high school, that guy's going to treat me like we're going to work hard, we're going to play hard, we're going to be physical. Well, that's a coach that's going to take the time to know me also, and I'm not just a number to him. I'm not just a guy that can be disposed of.
Which is
on
why,
the football
exactly
fields.
why, when people ask me who are the best coaches I played for, and I played for Marv Levy, Hall of Famer, Jimmy Johnson, questionable Hall of Famer, but
Cowboys Ring of Honor.
A really, really good coach.
Yeah, don't forget Chan Gailey.
And Dave Campo.
He gets so mad when I bring him those guys.
And Hank, Hank, whatever his name
the
is.
guy from Buffalo, the first guy in Buffalo. Yeah.
And he was so ridiculous. He called me Hellstrom.
Didn't even call him by his number. Called him by the wrong name.
Hellstrom. I understand 1,000 different mispronunciations of my last name, but there's no M in it. There's no Hellstrom. But the thing about Barry Switzer was Barry Switzer knew my wife.
Yeah.
Barry Switzer knew my daughter. And I always looked at that as, Jimmy didn't even know when his birthday was. He didn't celebrate holidays. He didn't do this. He didn't do that. And that's fine. That worked for him for a short period of time. Barry was in it forever, but it was that personal connection that made you want to play harder for that.
That's what I was just going to say. Did it make you want to play harder for him?
No.
Now imagine being you were established with the Cowboys, but imagine being a guy that you're coming in and you're fighting for your NFL career and, even in college, at a college level, you're getting there, you're not getting a lot of playing time. You're not sure if you're going to transfer, but the coach knows your name, knows your girlfriend's name, knows your dog, for instance, knows where you're living at and your situation. You're gonna think twice about transferring out of the program and moving on or in the professional side, you are gonna play harder. I gotta get down there and cover this punt like nobody's belief. I can't disappoint coach over there, right? And stuff to that effect. So I think that's a big deal. The other one is, there's a big game this weekend here in the Valley, Hamilton versus Basha.
Oh.
And you brought up Dirk Cutter because that was actually my example I was going to bring up. Dirk Cutter wouldn't get off his couch to go support anybody here. We all know that Herm Edwards and his staff with that Antonio Pierce, unless you were from a certain school in California, they had no interest in talking to you. And that stuff, which kind of made me this is a twofold thing. One, Kenny Dillingham said he doesn't know if he's going to the game. But the reason why he said he might not go is actually, to me, a good thing. Kenny Dillingham yesterday on this Hamilton Basha football game. And is he going, Bruce?
Multiple of your golden ticket players are going to be playing in that game. Are you planning on attending that?
I don't know yet. Just depends. I usually don't attend games for home games. I'm different than a lot of people. I'm about our football team. And it's a game week, and it's Friday. And if people that are from this state choose to come to this school, then I'll care about them. That's simple, just like I care about our football team. There's a lot of guys who want to be here nationally, across the country, that want to be a part of this football program. So I'm going to focus my energy on the people that are here in this program and pour all into them. And then once the season ends or once the game ends, I can move on to the next part of my job, which is trying to get the next generation of Sun Devils. But I'm always focused, A, on the player who chose to be here over B, the player that I want to be here. I'll always choose A because that person chose to be here.
Two things. The golden tickets are just where, hey, you want to come to ASU, you're coming. That's what those golden tickets are, to the high school players here in the Valley that are good, and it's just, hey, we don't need to recruit you, you just know you can come here. That's what that is. But two, this is an age where you have to recruit your current players because they can leave at any time. That's what he's doing there. That's what he's focused on, keeping the guys that he has.
Yeah, but, I think at Friday night at 7 o'clock, I mean, I'll tell you, I remember being on the sidelines of high school football games when I was at 12. And automatically, I mean, you saw the head coaches that were there. I mean, Dick Tomey drove up from Tucson. Oh, man, he flew in from such and such.
You always got those idiots that pull in by helicopter.
Yeah, and it really means something when you see somebody from the SEC like Philip Fulmer, like I said, talk about time.
Dabo came into a Queen Creek game. Was it last year?
Yeah,
came into a Queen Creek game.
And so I think it means something, and I think it has value, and so I think you can do both. I really do. I mean, I don't think the players are going to think any less of your head coach because he went out. I mean, it's 7 o'clock.
It's Friday night, I know, and you're getting driven. You can probably drive yourself, but that's just so far south, and that feels ugly. I wouldn't go either.
But here's the deal. But no one questions Dillingham's love for the local kids.
Yes,
right.
I agree.
That's not even an issue.
He's in contact with them,
Sure.
the ones that he because there's the levels to this. And I had somebody that was highly recruited, and his dad was like, it was amazing when you knew when your kid was wanted because it was always like the offensive line coach would reach out, and then a head coach would reach out. And you're like, all right, they want him now at this point. Like they're going after him to the big deal type. So if your head coach shows up, and if he's been talking to you all along, and then he doesn't show up to this game, you're not going to go. He doesn't want me to go there.
Well, there's two things I'm looking at. Number one, I'm thinking back to my SMU days, and Friday nights we have meetings. I don't know how those coaches do it when they go see high school games or whatever. Maybe some of these coaches will go on a bye week. Now I'm sure on bye week Friday night you probably
they'll be there for that.
But
because he specifically said Friday night on home games.
Yeah.
I don't go to games.
And then secondly, when he talks about caring about his players, ASU, I haven't done the research, but one of the few schools in the United States that didn't lose anybody to the transfer portal.
If they weren't the only one, there was only a handful of teams.
Only a handful.
That's my point. He's focusing. He's putting his focus on the kids that want to be there, that are in the program, so they stay, as opposed to taking your focus off, going after high. Let's face the high school kids. You don't know if they're going to pan out. You know if the kid on your team is going to pan out.
But I just think that thinking there is skewed. I really do. I mean,
that's why I wanted to ask you.
You have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday, and half of Friday to be with your team. And these players know, they're not dumb, that you're telling them, hey, I'm going to go out and watch some other recruits here locally. They understand that, because they were in that position themselves. And so I don't
know. Maybe there's nobody on Basha that they want, or they can go after.
That most certainly is.
That was sarcasm.
Hildebrand is one of those golden ticket guys you're talking about.
He is.
Well, and Hamilton has a couple of those too. That's sophomore
those
wide
sophomores,
receiver.
yeah.
Hey, Roy Oliver and the quarterback Jack Scully.
Yeah.
And they're sophomores. So you want to
They
get
are
in on that
sophomores.
early, because
Yeah.
they got a couple more years.
Yeah.
No, I was being completely sarcastic. If you're at college, it wouldn't shock me if there's a bunch of college coaches sitting on the
Oh
sideline
well, yeah.
on Friday night.
Look, Ohio State Mason. I think didn't Noah Roberts commit to them, and then Joshua Gaines. I mean, look,
He did last time. Last time I heard. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know if it's changed.
Bash is just loaded. I mean, they
Yeah.
got this kid that transferred in. He's an offensive lineman. He transferred in, and so him and Hildebrand are these, I guess, bookends.
Yeah.
And this kid is like something like 6'5", 335 or
big
something. I'm like, my.
Yeah, you can't miss him. By the way, if you watch any Basha film, you can't miss him. He's a big dude, and he kills people. It's amazing to watch him out there. I don't know. I just found that interesting. And then when you guys brought
Yeah.
up the Dirk Cutter, and Pete Carroll's on a private plane flying here to go see some guys, and Dirk Cutter's like, I'm on my couch. But I also don't think. But Dirk Cutter made it known he didn't want relationship with high school coach. That's the difference.
Hey, man,
Kenny Dillon, I can tell you.
I was a huge Dirk Cutter fan, unlike Dale.
I've talked to
Imagine that.
I've talked to a
Imagine
few
that.
high school coaches. Some of them where their teams aren't good, but they have really good players on the team. That coaches from ASU have made friendships with them in that school, even though they're lower tier schools in 6A. They're not as good and stuff to that effect. So they're making the effort to have relationships with these guys.
And they had
and
to
stuff.
overcome the
Yeah.
Edwards.
Yeah,
era.
well, they wouldn't even pay attention. If Basher would get paid attention to, but
yeah.
but I'm talking about specifically a school in my mind right now. I talked to the head coach, and they have somebody. That head coach gets a phone call every few weeks on some of his players and stuff like that people are talking about, and this team has not won much.
Hey, look! I've said it before. Antonio Pierce got us in trouble, but my gosh, I mean, you just have to keep it real. If you look at the glut of talent that he has sent to the NFL, that he had recruited here at
I don't
ASU,
disagree.
it's unbelievable. But I mean, you got to play by the rules.
Yeah.
He didn't play by the rules, and they put us in a tremendous hole.
Well, and if we're going to keep it real, let's keep it real. The fact that they got the NFL going to other college programs. They didn't come from ASU to.
I know.
to the-
Jaden Daniels.
You're right.
When Jaden Daniels left, he was not on a trajectory to be a high draft pick as a quarterback when he left here.
Well,
Pearsall
LA
was not going to be a first round draft pick.
who now?
Pearsall or Purcell.
With the
Rick
Niners
Pearsall?
now, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if that's necessarily true, guys.
Did you
Jaden
see?
Daniels-
Did you see Jaden Daniels this last year? He was underthrowing guys by 10 yards.
Well-
He underthrew Ricky Purcell in that bowl game in Las Vegas. I was
Well-
sitting there. I underthrew him by 10 yards, and Ricky Purcell was standing by himself in the back there.
Let me just put it to you. Put it to you like this.
I get so angry.
I just don't think that when you have that kind of talent, that it's not going to be manifest. I just
You have to
think-
work hard for it.
I think what happened was he played his freshman and sophomore years here. Now sophomore year was like one of those years in which now the problem that you got into.
Yes.
Because that spring
They knew about
but
it.
yeah, so
Well, then
now you got guys that are
Then he said he was coming back, and they flat out sat him down and said, "You need to move on. You need to get out of here."
because they're not going to be able to go to any
They knew what was
postseason.
coming.
Everybody's leaving because they won't be able to go to any
Yeah,
postseason.
they sat down. They sat down. That's why he left so late, and that's why
so,
everybody was mad.
Yeah, and so I just think that from a experience and a maturity standpoint, and that's what drives me crazy about it. Because I look at it, I said, man, this dude. He ran roughshod over the Alabamas and Georgias and LSU's. I mean, he played for LSU. Excuse me. The Alabamas and Georgias in the SEC. They don't even have that type of defense in the Pac-12.
Yeah.
So it makes me upset because I said,
his
there's
freshman
my
year-
chance for a title.
His freshman year, man, everybody was right. I interviewed him. I interviewed Coach Herm, and I was like, I got done with that interview. I was actually listening to him a couple of weeks ago. I'm redoing some of my stuff, and I found it. And I was just like, man, this is when I was on that. Herm Edwards is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Jaden Daniels is multiple championships coming our way, and 2
Yeah,
years
man.
later, it was like,
And that's what drives me crazy is I look at what they did down in LSU and stuff. I said, man, and then I try to say how that would translate to the Pac-12. They don't have that type of defense.
yeah,
in
but the
Pac-12.
guys he was throwing to at the at LSU was
Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas.
I mean, it's,
well, no, they weren't garbage. But let me tell you something. Neither was Brandon Ayuk.
Well, no.
And neither was Ricky Pearsall.
and he could not hit them to save his life in that season. Regardless of what's going on around the program, a quarterback has to throw to open receivers.
I don't know. Maybe you watched some different games.
I
than
did.
But,
I was at every game.
I think that.
I interviewed. Me and Chris Cartman had a conversation on air at the radio station, and Cartman was like, "You're not wrong."
So if you watched his freshman year,
his freshman year was unbelievable.
Yeah, when there was no cloud over the program, yep. I thought he did, and he ran and he threw. I was like, man, and he always looked slight to me. I was like, I wonder if he's going to break.
Oh no, he was tiny, but then he got to LSU, and do you see he got bigger?
Yeah. So
they have a weight room at LSU.
Yeah. So well, maybe that's true. But
maybe it's all the Cajun food.
All I know is this. I look at all that talent and I said, dang, because
I disagree.
I just want a ring. Let me tell you something.
Yeah, you don't have a lot to ask for in life.
I have never look. I'm one of those fans that starves for rings. I love talking trash. I love sticking my and so now that's why I love Dillingham, because I thought that our best chances went out the window. But he has flipped this program so well. And so do I think ASU is a national championship caliber team this year? No, I don't. But I still can talk trash if I win the Big 12.
Yeah, you can. And the thing is, if Kenny Dillingham was here when Jane Daniels was here,
it would have been unbelievable.
Jane Daniels would never went to LSU.
Yeah.
It's very, very true. It's very true.
He wanted to stay. Like I said, the Herm Edwards and those guys sat him down and said, "You need a transfer.
Yeah,
you're not going to do anything here, and we might not be here. when you get done with it." So it's just fascinating. But let's take our quick break here. We got some Cardinals talk we've got to do as well. So come on back, folks. Bruce Cooper joins us on Tuesdays. Riveting discussion. I don't know what the word riveting means, but we're having it, folks. And we're back here.
What a great segue that is. All Coop wants is a title. Now we're going to talk about the Cardinals.
God, he sounds like every woman I've ever dated, Bruce. I just want a ring. Give me a ring. Now I'm going to get in trouble for that comment. Dale, why'd you make me say that? So, obviously, ASU, a lot of talk. They got to shore up the punting game. I agree with you, though. I think they beat Houston this weekend. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say it's a blowout, but they should win this game comfortably this weekend if their defense plays like they did against Texas Tech. And you have no reason to not think that that's their trajectory moving forward. And then you got the other side of it on Sunday. Cardinals go out there. Bottom line is they go out there and they lose again in the last part. They have the lead going into the fourth quarter. This team just doesn't know how to win, Coop.
They clearly don't. I mean, they clearly don't. And so that's why when we talked earlier in the show about Jonathan Gannon saying nothing's changed, I'm staying with Kyler Murray. And you talked about you like coaches who do change and can make changes and stuff like that. This is the one that I will agree with, and I'll tell you why I agree with it.
Yeah, I'm interested in hearing this.
Yeah. You already know who Jacoby Brissett is.
100%.
You got 10 years and all kinds of film to see who he is, all right? You have an investment in Kyler Murray financially. Now, what you need to do is you need to make sure that he doesn't turn out to be Baker Mayfield in Tampa, a Sam Darnold, whether it's in Minnesota or Seattle, or Daniel Jones in Indianapolis. And that would be my worst nightmare. And so you need these last 10 games to say it's definite. It's either he's the guy or we got to get rid of him and cut our losses.
So what you're telling me is 10 years worth of film is better than 6+ years of film.
No, what I'm telling you is this: Jacoby Brissett is who he is. Mm-hmm. His ceiling has already been maxed out.
I agree.
You have no idea if Kyler has reached his ceiling.
How do you not know?
He's reached
because I've seen him play. Maybe the year was 2021. Yeah. They were 7-0, 10-2. He's in MVP conversation.
He was throwing the ball to Christian Kirk 20 yards down the field. Regularity.
Yeah, because he had some guy
regularity.
Named DeAndre Hopkins there. So what I need to do, Dale, for my own sake of mind, is I have to be sure. And so I'm going to say, look, once I gave him a big star receiver in DeAndre Hopkins, and granted, he was with the A.J. Greens and the Christian Kirks. They were all that. The next year, D-Hop misses the first 6 games of the following year because of PEDs.
Was Christian Kirk here that year, or is that the year he left? I don't remember.
He may have left in the offseason.
I can't remember if that was that year or the year after.
Contract.
Yeah, with Jacksonville.
But needless to say, he lost his big weapon. So then, when D-Hop comes off that, I think they
this
played.
is still the Kingsbury.
Right,
regime.
right. They played 2 games, and Kyler tore his ACL. So they never really. So that 1 year, I mean, the dude had over 1,400 yards receiving, like 14 touchdown passes. I mean, him and D-Hop and Kyler were all of that. And you said, and so when they roll coverages to D-Hop, there's Christian Kirk for bombs. Yeah. And so they were all of that. And so, Dale, I was so happy to see them draft Marvin Harrison, because I said, okay, they're giving him that dude again. But man, dude, we've talked enough about Marvin Harrison.
Yeah.
But again, I need to see, Dale. I need to see.
You're not going to see it though with this coaching staff. They aren't successful with Kyler Murray.
If that's the case, then these final 10 games will rubber stamp that.
Yeah, but who's going to take that blame? Kyler Murray.
So what? So what?
Then you're going to get rid of him. And then he's going to go on to be great someplace else.
Well, that's what.
My point is this: you can put all the blame on Kyler Murray. We got to find out if Kyler Murray's there. After 7 years, we know what Kyler Murray is. We know he can throw deep, Coop. We know he can run the football.
They don't.
But isn't that more of what's going on with him that he's not throwing it deep with this regime? Because you know who is throwing it deep? Jacoby Brissett.
Okay, here's the deal. Here's the deal. How old is Jacoby Brissett?
Let's fight.
He's what, 32, 33
yeah,
years
exactly.
old?
No, I get what you're saying.
He's not your future.
He's not your future.
Right. They don't have their future on their roster right now.
So if you play the guy that you invested in to be your future, these final 10 games,
I don't disagree with you.
Whether he succeeds or fails is not the point. What the point is that you have to determine as a coaching staff who didn't draft him, who are probably being told that Michael says, I'm talking about Bidwell, Michael Bidwell says he needs to play because we're paying him. I'm not paying him all that money to sit on the bench. So now, as Jonathan Gannon and Monty Ossenfort can say, all right, Michael, here it is. We're going to let this guy do it. And so we're going to come to you afterwards because the season's already lost at 2-5.
Yeah.
I mean,
what do you have coming up?
You know what drove me crazy this past weekend? I know I'm a flip-flop. What drove me crazy this past weekend? Cardinals lose another close game. And so, but I've noticed the last 2 weeks that the fans and media, they're happy with pretty losses. See, because I watched the 49ers win ugly.
Yeah.
And you know that old axiom, I'd rather have an ugly win than a pretty loss. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not satisfied with a pretty loss.
But what about an ugly loss that we see a lot with Kyler Murray?
Dude, you can't say that. You can't say that when they're losing walk-offs.
I can absolutely say that.
Everything is everything. So if you lose an ugly walk-off,
I can and will say it, Bruce.
A pretty walk-off, the result, dude, you're here to win.
Okay, I agree with you.
It doesn't matter.
But you watch this offense under Zay Jones, and not Zay Jones. Brissett.
There is
and
no
you can't
question
tell me that the offense runs better with him.
I'm not here to tell you that because I can see with my own eyes.
My argument is this:
it runs better with Jacoby Brissett, but
it's the coaching staff. It's the coaching staff is the problem, and putting Kyler Murray back in there and going back to the same stale offensive garbage that you've been doing, which is what they're going to do. I have no interest in watching that. I'd rather watch you go lose with Jacoby Brissett, running up and down the field and being in the game than go out there and watch the offense. Cardinals QB conversions of 3rd and 15 or longer since Gannon and Petzing took over. Kyler Murray, 0 conversions, 3rd and 15. Jacoby Brissett, 3. That says it all right there.
Look. I'm trying to speak reality to you. I'm trying to help you out, Steve.
Preach it to me.
Let me tell you, I'm going to say it again because I'm going to be redundant. Michael Bidwell does not want to spend over $200 million on a guy to have him sit on the sideline. Jonathan Gannon's hands, Monty Officenford's hands, they are tied. They have to play this man. And I agree. If that's the case, I said I agree with Jonathan Gannon. I'm going to agree with Michael Bidwill because
he's a Hall of Famer, Bruce.
Well, because I want to make sure in my mind that this guy doesn't blossom. So
my argument to you is, and I agree with you, I would go back to Kyler Murray for the reasons you're stating. You've got to keep playing with your starting quarterback. And it's going to be ugly. This is an interesting dilemma that we're in right now because I'm hoping Jacoby Brissett playing has opened up Drew Penn. It hasn't, by the way, because of 4th and 2 on the 38-yard line, and you do a quarterback sneak up the middle, get stuffed, and you go down the field. So they haven't learned their lesson. But conversion rates by QBs on the plays, not including QB runs, Brissett 3 of 4 on 3rd and 15s or longer. Murray 0 and 20. Over the last 3 years. Now, he missed some time there, of course, with this knee thing. The offense is different under Murray, and they're not setting him up to go. Here, I know it's your biggest fear. Kyler Murray's going to go to another team and have success because he's going to go a team where the offensive coordinator knows what the heck they are doing, and the head coach knows what the heck they're doing. So brace yourself. Kyler Murray's going to go somewhere and have a semblance of a success because of the coaching staff here is failing him.
Well, let me tell you something. What I, as a Cardinal fan, don't want to do. Now, granted, I have been here covering this Arizona Cardinals team since they arrived here in 1988. I spent 34 years in some pitiful post-game locker rooms. I've spent 34 years with a lot of 2 and 14s, 3 and 13, 4 and 12s. I spent 34 years with a lot of quarterbacks that I don't want to name their names because if they're watching and stuff like that, I don't want to throw them under the bus.
Dave Brown.
But it has been putrid, pathetic. I'm gonna steal a line from Kamala Harris. I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back.
But you're going to be back. So here's
the deal. Here's the deal. Murray is buying me 10 games. He's buying me 10 more games to let me find out. And so at that point, if I have found out that I got to cut my losses, I'm re-signing Jacoby Brissett. And then I'm going to spend some time now trying to find my future quarterback going forward.
If Kyler doesn't work out, you're going to be in the running for, one of these guys.
There is no quarterback in this 2026 draft that is going to be better than Kyler Murray.
Oh, come on. Get on the bandwagon with all the ASU people and go, Sam Levitt needs to play here.
Stop it. I'm not.
I'm with you, by the way.
I've watched the games this year. They're just not. And so if that means that I have to bridge, because the Cardinals have done this before. Kurt Warner was post career. He was in his 30s. Carson Palmer, they certainly weren't the future. And
those coaches did what? Those coaches set him up to throw the ball down the field and everything. They don't do it.
I'm not arguing that. I'm trying to find the quarterback of the future for the Cardinals.
Yes.
That's all this season should be.
But I don't disagree, and he's not on this roster. And Kyler Murray's going to go in.
I've let you two talk.
Yeah, no, Dale, give it to us. You guys are supposed to argue, not me, Bruce.
This is spew your nonsense, as Coop usually does very, very, very well. Coop, what about the locker room? The locker room knows. The locker room does not give two patoots about next year or the year after.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, who gives the Cardinals the best chance to win their next game?
Dale.
It's
just Jacoby Brissett for quarterbacks. But Dale, you have played in the league, 17, 18, 19 years?
Yeah.
This is nothing new to you.
Yeah. No.
This is nothing new to
what
you.
I'm saying
they will pay the money. That money talks.
Yeah.
And so these players in the locker room, they're not stupid.
They're not stupid. But I'm telling you what, right now at 2-5, they want to have the best chance to win a game. And let me tell you the other thing. If you're going to sit here and look me in the eye and tell me you need 10 more games to decide if Kyler Murray can play quarterback, that is bo-hooey.
I'm telling you that Michael Bidwill doesn't want to have his $200+ million. And so these players know that. Everybody
I
knows that.
But they want to win. And here's the thing.
Dale, they're not going to win.
Coop,
they're
like,
2-5. They don't know how to win, Dale. They don't know how to make game-winning plays.
Coop, just like Danny Dimes. He went from a coaching staff that didn't know how to coach him.
I'm not
arguing. And now he's
that.
going to – and that may happen to Kyler Murray. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't
going
either.
to sign him to start. But maybe Tennessee or something like that. I don't know. But he's not going to go off and make you feel sorry. I'm talking about the Dallas Cowboys a week from Monday. Who gives me the best chance to win? And I'm sitting there in the locker room as Jonah Williams or
Will Hernandez.
Or Will Hernandez.
Josh Sweat.
But I agree that I know what they're going to do. Yeah. He's going to be back in the starting lineup. I'm just saying that's the wrong decision to make.
Look, Yelda Froholt's been there before. They had a guy named Deshaun Watson in Cleveland. Yeah. He didn't give them the best chance to win, but because they had that guaranteed $200+ million invested in that man, they played that man. And so now that man has had some major injuries, they now have drafted and tried to move on. Mm-hmm. Is it Dylan Gabriel is our guy? Is it Shedeur Sanders? We don't know, but we've been playing Joe Flacco, where Joe Flacco gave us the best chance to win. But, hey, I need to find out what these young kids can do. So, Joe Flacco, I'm sending your butt to Cincinnati.
But what's the message that Cleveland's sending their players? We don't care about this shit.
After signing their defensive ends.
That's life in the NFL. Yeah. You understand that as a player.
You got to give your team hope.
Well, hope ain't coming. What they're saying is that I gotta find out. I gotta get some experience behind this guy.
I'm not disagreeing with what they're gonna do. Yeah. I'm just saying I think it's the wrong path.
You've seen it before as a player. You've seen it, and I've seen it before as a journalist. Yeah. And so you as a player would know far better than anyone. I remember Dallas. When they drafted some guy named Troy Aikman with the first overall pick in '89, they came back in a supplemental draft and drafted some guy named Steve Walsh from Miami of Florida.
Yes.
So who did they? So they had 2 first-round picks, and so what they did, Dale, as you know this too, they wound up using Steve Walsh as part of that Herschel Walker trade, and they got a mint, and
they were separate.
Oh, they were separate.
They were separate, but they did get quite a haul from Steve Walsh, but. I will tell you this, and nobody ever talks about it. In 1990, they were both on the same. They were both still on the Cowboys, and there was a mutiny about to happen because you had the Miami guys, you had the Miami coaches, and you had Troy.
Wait a second.
And the locker room was complete, and it was probably game 6 or 7 that year that you could feel it going one way or the other.
Is that right?
And they traded Steve Walsh. Locker room came together. We almost made the playoffs in 1990. We had no business making it. But we rallied at the end of the year. But it was literally, I thought back even like the year after that, and we'd be talking to offensive linemen. We were literally a week away from that thing completely blowing up. And maybe Jimmy never wins the Super Bowl. Nor the Cowboys.
Well, here's the deal. You had Michael Irvin, a former Miami guy, Jimmy Johnson, a Miami guy. They chose Aikman over Walsh.
Well, and that was against everything that Jimmy wanted. I have it on 3 guys who were in the draft room that '88 draft. 3 days before the draft, Jimmy's plan: take Tony Mandrich and Steve Walsh. In the supplemental draft.
Is that right?
Got my left tackle, got my quarterback.
Is that right?
And he was talked out of it. And then to add one more thing.
Wow.
The following, in 1990, we drafted a guy named Emmitt Smith, right?
Yeah.
17 overall, 16 or whatever it was.
17 overall.
Desperately trying to trade up to number 9 or 10 with Cincinnati to get a guy named James Francis. Linebacker out of Baylor, played 5-6 years, had an okay career.
Is that
and
right?
Guess what? Couldn't come to terms. So they stuck at 16 or 17, have Emmitt Smith. So you tell me, if you have Tony Mandrich, Steve Walsh, and James Francis, how many Super Bowls did the Cowboys win?
Isn't that crazy.
Yeah.
That's some great story.
That's how
that's
close.
a great, that's a great
how
story.
close it
And
comes
then
down
Jimmy
to.
will look Bruce Cooper right in the eye and go, "There's no luck in football. It's all hard work."
Wow. How about that?
That's all my point is we know what Kyler Murray is. We know what this offensive play calling is. And we can go through examples. We spent an hour and a half yesterday talking about the disappointment in play calling going forward, making mistakes now. The bottom line is this, and I know they were rebuilding. Tell me a draft pick in the top rounds of the drafts that's been successful for Monty so far.
It really hasn't worked out for him in that regard.
No.
And so I was watching the Detroit Lions game last night.
Buccaneers?
It was the Buccaneers, and they put up a graphic that shows what their general manager has hit on from the second through the fourth rounds. I'm like, man,
Kansas City's the same way.
That's why they're where they are.
Yeah.
And
Kansas City's draft picks all play in their first or second year. They're all out there making good contributions.
And the Cardinals, I mean, geez, they can't get their defensive first rounders on the field. Yeah.
Walter Nolan's
and
got 21 days.
Darius Robinson and Walter Nolan.
Now Darius was on the field Sunday. You just didn't realize
Well,
it.
he's non-existent.
You just didn't realize it.
And so if you look at the 2 first-round picks of Paris Johnson and
That wasn't Monty, though, was it?
yeah.
No, that was Monty?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
I thought it
because
was the year
see,
before.
here's the deal. It was my first draft that I was screaming because they had the second overall pick. I didn't want them to take Will Anderson. I wanted them to trade down, but I'm trading down and staying in the top 5 because I want some guy named Bijan Robinson.
Yeah.
That was guy one, and I said I would use that second first round pick to use somewhere else. I can't remember who I had at the time, but Bijan Robinson was the guy that I wanted. And so that didn't happen. And so they got Paris Johnson. So everyone says Paris Johnson is this, that, and the other. And so, but again, I know I said it on the show before. I go back to that 89 draft. You mentioned the name Tony Mandridge. The Green Bay Packers had the second overall pick. I'm going to name you the top 5 players in that draft. And there's only one, an offensive lineman, that wasn't a Hall of Famer.
Yep.
Troy Aikman 1, Mandridge 2, some guy named Barry Sanders. Maybe you heard of him. Some guy named Derek Thomas with the Chiefs, who tragically passed away.
Yep.
And then some dude named Deion Sanders. Now, I want to tell you, and I learned right then, unless, and I've said on this show before, unless you are set up to where you are a really good team, you don't take that offensive lineman. You take that skill position player. And Bijan Robinson, I can't tell you what a difference he's made in Atlanta.
Even with all their coaches. Their coaches
he's
can't
one of the
help
best
him out.
players in the league, and you can't tell me that look, I'm done with that.
But, I understand the concept, but it's just you have a coaching issue with this team. You have a culture issue with this team, the Cardinals. And it starts there, and you're not going to solve the on the field, whether Kyler Murray plays or not. You're not going to solve the winning and all that stuff out there with the culture and the way they call these games to cause them to lose.
And I wish you, maybe sometime we should do this, is put side by side Dillingham's press conference and Jonathan Gannon's press conference.
It is disgusting the difference. Jonathan Gannon.
2 weeks in a row, Dillingham has said, "I'm changing things." Jonathan Gannon.
We're going back to the way we know how to do it. I have confidence in what we're doing.
I can't agree with you guys more. But I will say this, as it relates to the Cardinals culture, something happened recently that made me say, whoa. Michael Bidwill announced this major investment he's making into the team's practice facility. Now, we all know that we've seen the surveys, player surveys.
Yep.
Cardinals are ranked at the bottom of them.
Uneven
everything.
floor in the weight room, Coop.
Absolutely. So the fact, I've seen the numbers. He's about ready to put about $200 million into this thing. It's going and some of the things, the plans that they have in there, I'm like, wow. Did it take this long to get it? Well, he's ready. It looks like to me he's trying to buy in and change the culture there. And the thing, and I think it's great. It's too bad. I think it's to open up in what,
28. Yeah, nobody's going to be here then.
Yeah. So, but at least it's a major,
You and I will still be here going to games, but nobody else will be.
It's a major change, a change that I think is great. I think it signals maybe a turn for this franchise.
It's just last year they had a good season. That's the last thing we'll say, and then I got a Suns question. We're into overtime real quick, but I mean, when you're 14-27 after 41 games, and then you're losing the way you are this year, you're 3-11 against the NFC West. That's just not getting it done.
Yeah.
Your division is hard. Your division is tough. What are they building towards?
But
like,
here,
do they have any chance to compete with anybody in their division anytime soon?
But Steve, and I hear you what you're saying there. But I being the draftnik that I am, I'm just an idiot in that regard. I'm telling you, the Cardinals have not had a team that I would say that was better than the 49ers.
I know, but it's
better
year
than the
3
Rams,
of a
better than the
rebuild. Seattle was really good for a long time. They have Sam Darnold as their quarterback, right? 49ers are going through injuries galore, and they're
Exactly.
still playing well. You know who
Exactly,
is in a
Steve.
third year of a rebuild and still
Steve,
getting worse?
Steve,
The Cardinals.
Exactly. That's my whole point. That's my whole point when I was coming in here. I said it off the top. The 49ers have been decimated by injury. They don't have they have street free agents. They have practice squatters.
They got
and
Dale
they're-
Hellestrate playing running
and they're
receiver.
They're freaking 5-2.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everybody in the division.
Yeah. And so I'm telling you, the Rams are losing their top receiver and Puka Nacua, and stuff. They're 5-2. Seattle,
And they
went through a quarterback change. They're
Everybody
5-2.
in this division rebuilds by getting better. Cardinals rebuild and get worse in year 3.
And here's the deal. Here's the deal. It's not necessarily a quarterback issue. I mean, Jacoby Brissett has played brilliantly. They're still losing. I'm
a
telling you,
coaching issue.
it's a cultural and coaching issue.
Here's the thing.
I agree
When
100% with you.
The first year we understood it was going to be bad. Last year we saw improvement.
Absolutely.
But playing hard through 4 quarters, lost some games, won a couple games probably didn't expect to. Year 3, that's when you make your leap.
And they've regressed.
So they regress.
Bill and Steve, let me tell you something. I also, when I do the draft, I also include a free agent list, and I'm telling you, and trades. I include all the things. The Steelers were looking desperately to get rid of George Pickens. I said, hey, there's my deep threat. Let's bring him in here with Marvin Harrison.
Yeah, he's doing well in Dallas.
And let's go. Well, he didn't do it. Dallas did. And
What did they give up? A 3rd-round pick?
Yeah, it wasn't much. Yeah,
dude. I'm just, it just frustrates me.
Yeah.
It frustrates me. I mean, spend some money.
Yeah.
It's not just spending the money. It's just get guys that are proven. Kind of what you talked about last week. Call the Jets. Call guys that are sucking and get those guys in here to play.
Yeah, but now
Nats.
people are starting to call them because
I know,
the Cardinals suck.
I know. And it's just like get proven guys in the NFL. Stop doing these draft picks that aren't working out. I don't know. It's just a culture issue.
You
and-
said you had not had a chance to watch my Notre Dame running. Why am I losing his name? Number 4.
Love?
Jeremiah Love.
Oh yeah, no, I haven't seen him. Yeah.
You didn't watch the game with USC? Rats. I was hoping you did.
I caught part of it. No, it was an ASU game. I was dealing with all that. Yeah.
okay.
I mean, that was just afterwards. There was a zoo, and I was worn out.
He was down on the field carrying
Yeah,
goalposts
exactly.
out.
I was high fiving with everybody.
Phoenix
No,
Suns.
I didn't. I saw highlights of it, but no, I got to sit down and watch it. I watched the early Notre Dame games and stuff. but-
Jeremiah Love. I want you to watch this guy.
Yeah.
You know what? If you watched the Lions game last night with Jahmyr Gibbs,
I love.
Love has that explosiveness like Gibbs, and he has the hands out of the backfield.
Yeah. I just watch teams like the Lions and the Buccaneers and
I
the
know.
Bills.
Yeah, but
and I'm just sitting there like,
But do you take the
just look at these teams and just incorporate what these guys, what you see on film, what they're doing, just incorporate it into your offense because it's obviously working.
Do you take that Love kid with the top 2 pick? Because that's probably where they're going to be drafted. It's either going to be the Jets.
Well,
It's going to be Tennessee or Arizona.
If I had the top 2 picks, I would do like I did. Like I said, I was not interested in, even though I know
down.
Will Hernandez was a really good player, I was focused on getting my offense straight because I thought I was closer to being good there than I was.
Well, that's the other side of it. They didn't put anything into their offense this year. They
right.
focused on their defense.
Right.
Is not as
and
good.
so Dale, I would again trade down because Love's not going to be a top 2 pick.
Right.
And so I trade down. I'd still draft him, and I'd still have an additional
Coop.
capital.
I'm going to slam down a moratorium. No way in hell are we talking about the 2026 NFL draft on October 21st.
I brought up a mock draft last week, so I'm with you.
We're not talking about it.
We're doing a draft show this year. Coop's committed to it already, so we got that coming up. Mark your calendars. Really quick, because we're rolling to overtime. I brought up the mock draft last week because I wanted to see if where Tyson would go and stuff, and Dale got all upset about it. Suns, really quick. Season starts tomorrow. Over under 33 games right now on FanDuel.
I'm
what are your
taking the
thoughts?
over.
I
Without
took
question,
the over.
but I'm not predicting 72 wins. I heard somebody say that. I think the Suns can compete for that 9, 10, 11
That's what I
slots
think
and stuff like that play in.
Kind of like they did last year.
Yeah, I guess it's 8, 9, 10. Hey, look,
Yeah, 8, 9,
look. They had 36
They
wins
won't be an
last
8.
year.
They'll be the 9 or 10.
Let me tell you what, they'll be much better than that team last year.
That'll be more fun to watch.
Well,
what
they're
I
going to
said.
be better because let me tell you something. Length, athleticism, and shooting are going to be something that Suns fans are going to say, wow, I really missed that. You're going to see rim protection. You're going to see play above the rim.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes a hell of a difference.
Yes.
It just-
I'm looking forward to.
They're going to be more fun to watch. Even if they win 20 games, they're going to be more fun to watch than the teams in the past. Are you going to watch the Rockets tonight play Oklahoma City? Tallest lineup ever in NBA history for the Rockets tonight. Everybody's like 6'9", 6'7".
Dude,
the average wingspan 6 feet 11.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
I like the
Yeah, well, I mean, Chet Holmgren and the other tall guy for Oklahoma City starred. They play 2 centers.
Yeah.
So that's why they're doing it. Emi, the coach of Rockets, said, "We're not doing this every game, folks. It's just because of who we're playing."
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Oh, I saw
yeah.
because I saw that. I saw Adams and Seguin as starters.
Their average wingspan is 6'11".
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
Rockets
Jabari
tonight.
Smith as playing the small, and he's 6'10".
Kevin Durant's the shooting guard
the
tonight.
Shooting guard, yeah.
That's the tallest lineup
and
ever to
Amin
start.
Thompson at 6'7" is a point guard.
Well,
Yeah, so I didn't know that's why they're doing
They
it.
rolled it out in preseason to try it out, and they had success in preseason. But that's what they're claiming. If it works tonight, they're probably going to stick. But a small team's going to run circles around them, right?
I tell you what, they're going. You better when those small teams shoot, they better make it because they ain't getting.
You're not
getting
getting
no
a rebound.
rebounds.
Are you watching? The Houston team with a little bit of what's your feelings on Houston with Kevin Durant there? Are you rooting for him? You're just gonna kind of vote against him?
I'm not. I don't root for anybody but my teams unless that would benefit my home team. I'm not rooting, but I do think with Houston, given the fact that they were a 52-win team a year ago, and they just couldn't get it done in the playoffs because coming down the stretch they couldn't shoot. They didn't have a closer. Durant gives is that closer, and so and they have a roster that covers up his deficiencies. When I say his, I mean Durant's deficiencies, and so they are very much a title contender.
I'm going to give you a number: 45. Over or under for Durant this year? Games played.
Oh, over.
You think?
Yeah. And look, one thing that I learned about Durant in Phoenix that I didn't know, his commitment. Now his commitment to excellence, his commitment to being available, it's there. I mean, he has to have an Achilles tear to keep him out. A sprained ankle that's high. This dude, you won't ever confuse him for street clothes. When I say street clothes, I'm talking about Anthony Davis. Oh, no, maybe I should say. Maybe I should change that. Maybe it's my guy with the Clippers.
Yeah, Kawhi.
Kawhi
playing.
It's just it's gonna be interesting, but it's gonna be interesting to see how the Rockets handle late games because Kevin Durant, part of the problem here, him and Book, right? They kind of deferred to each other, and neither one really took the last shot, and they struggled with that. It'll be interesting to see on the Rockets if they just go, Durant, get us out of this. So it'll be interesting to watch coming up. Really quick, and then we got to go. World Series, Toronto or Dodgers? Are you going with the evil empire that wants to ruin baseball, as Dave Roberts said, or?
I'm definitely rooting for Toronto. I beat LA anybody. Give me anybody.
Canada.
But let me tell you something. I think we talked about it last week. What Shohei did.
Unbelievable.
In
Game 3?
4. It was game 4.
Oh, was it game 4?
It was a clincher. Because he hadn't done it. He had been pretty much a sleeping giant throughout the entire postseason.
Right.
That whole
But-
just the first inning. Then you add on the rest of the game. That first inning was unbelievable.
Dude, he's some kind of special. That Dodgers, they have a roster that screams repeat.
Yeah.
But
And it screams salary cap is coming.
but I am so rooting against them.
On that side, perfect. Bruce, as always, appreciated. Really quick, Kobe, throw up the the NFL picks here, just so Dale feels better about himself as he leaves here today.
Oh,
You should have seen his college football one this week, and it was all red X's there. And look at
Wow.
that, Dale nailing that this week.
how about them damn Jaguars playing a home game in London and
They
getting
didn't even show up without Puka for the Rams, no less. On top of it,
that's coaching.
yeah. I didn't realize Jaden Daniels was going to get hurt again in that game. Otherwise, I would have gone.
Dude,
Cowboys.
you really thought, Steve, that the Bucks would beat the Lions
I
in
did.
Detroit?
Yeah, I did.
And he thought that the Redskins would come in and beat my Cowboys,
No, I
who
thought
are
the-
averaging 60 points a game.
I thought the Commanders would, and I thought both teams were going to score 70-something points. I didn't realize Jaden Daniels was going to tear his hamstring in the third quarter, though. So that's where I went wrong there. I'm high on the Buccaneers this year, and I'm not high on the Lions. Or was I wrong on that, though?
Well, that's last night, but that's
So we'll get out of here. Dale, Bruce, appreciate it as always. See you next Tuesday. We'll have a couple Suns games under our belts, and we'll see what the rotate. Even though they got injuries on their starting lineup, we'll have to see.
Where did I hear that before?
Come on back, folks. McCollum on Business, be around noon today, just to let you know. Pit stops up from yesterday as well, the Look Back Show. Check that out. And Bruce Cooper joins us next Tuesday. See you, everybody.